I'm really excited to help with this and introduce Julia. I'm sure many of you know she's an axe maker in Sweden. And so she's going to share with us some of her insights into her business, her trade, maybe some history. We'll see. As Jessa said, it's the silver lining of all this is these Zoom meetings. It's really, really great to be able to connect with people all over the world. So I'm always kind of in awe, of this kind of new era for craft. And I'll be I'll be the middleman with the questions. So as Jessa said, put them in the Q&A, and I'll be monitoring them and asking them when appropriate. But you can ask those questions throughout. It helps Julia keep it flowing nicely. So without further ado, Julia, it's all yours.
Okay, hello everyone. So happy to be part of this Northhouse Folk School series. I've wanted to go to Northhouse for many years, but I guess like Jared said, this is at least is something. I mean, it's nice that we can connect in this difficult time. But preparing for this event or this talk, I've been trying to figure out what you want to hear, and I don't know really, but I've just I thought you want to hear some of my background, and then I also want to share about my product development process in more detail than I normally talk about. So I think perhaps you want to hear that, and then, well, a little bit about how my making actually works with my different partners and colleagues that I have. And I will finish with a short tour of my shop. So basically, this is just following like my how do you say it? With the same, it's like my history. I'm talking from the start to the end, so it's going to follow that timeline. And first, I just want to, I'm just assuming that all of you are craftspeople, and perhaps many of you are using axes every day. So I feel in a way I'm speaking to the choir, but for everyone else, it's not obvious that an axe, what is an axe, and why do we need axes today? And as a matter of fact, the axe is, I think of it like what the drum is for the music, the axe is for the tools. It's a very basic tool, and I'm actually gonna start my presentation and read a quote from a book that I think is like one of the coolest quotes. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen. This is the book, The Axe and Man. And the quote is there. In the beginning, before early man, we did not manufacture tools for future use. The most important scientific factor in man's evolution from a lower animal has been his technology. And the most important part of that technology has been his development of tools. And among these, man's most important tool has been the axe. Isn't this the coolest thing? It's just saying how crucial axes has been for our evolution, and we would not have, I'm sure we would have made it as human beings without the axe. But it's, if you think back of it, just like perhaps 150 years ago, when the Industrial Revolution was still very young, people used axes and knives every day in their life, and they would not survive without it. And today it's a completely different situation. Humans, or we people are very detached from working with our hands, and yeah, because we don't need to. Our technology has really flourished, if you think so. But yeah, so I think it's interesting to put this in a perspective. And there also, in this book, it also says that, well, this classic story, perhaps you've heard it, that a man is walking along a river and finds a stone. And then this stone is a little sharp in one end, and then he comes to perhaps a marrow bone or something. And perhaps by accident or on purpose, making the stone a little sharper. And because of that, he can come into the marrow bone and get all the energy for thinking smart stuff. And this is something they say marks the transformation from lower animal to human being. So it's the ability to make tools for future use. When he made this marrow bone, he thought, oh, this is a good tool. I'm going to keep it for next time. And this gave us the greater ability to survive and be full in our stomach and warm and everything. Yeah, I'm not really checking on the comments, but I don't know if any one of you are familiar with this or not, but I think it's really interesting that the axe is like the most important scientific factor for our human evolution. Boom, like beat that. And perhaps sometimes people ask me also, why are you so interested in axes? And I mean, I just think there is something so special about it. Perhaps it is this thing that when we take up an axe, it feels so right. It's like, oh, this has saved me for millions of years, or at least I think 8,000 years is when they started to use real axes. But I think people feel some sort of, yeah, like this saved me and 1,000 generations back, and that means something. So I think there is some safety feeling when holding an axe. Okay, but so my own journey with axes did not start millions of years ago. It actually started when I was 19. I was traveling in Morocco after high school and thinking about what to do when I grew up. And I had a long list where I wrote many pretty embarrassing things, but very cute 19-year-old-ish things. And one was become a blacksmith. And when I got home, I showed this list to my stepdad, and we were discussing it. And he said, well, blacksmith. Actually, I know a guy up where I come from in Hälsingland who has a forge. Perhaps you can go there and learn from them. And I called them and asked if I could come, and I was completely broke because I had spent all my money in Morocco. And they said, yes, I can come and I can work to pay for the class. And this this was at Gränsfors Bruks in northern Hälsingland, and it was very big different for me because I grew up in the southern Sweden, and it's a lot more. Everything is a lot more cute and like curated there. And when I came to Norland, I was amazed by like the real life and yeah, the oil and steel and very yeah, very fascinating and different. And yeah, I went there and I become completely in love with the forging, and it was actually a pretty theoretical idea that I would like it, because I've always liked to make a fire and like yeah, that whole process, and I've always liked to become really like dirty and sooty and like jump in the water like this, a very like messy child. And I like to like use my body, and yeah, I'm also pretty like manic to do something. So I thought this, I'm gonna like this. But it was a lot better. It was incredible. Just a feeling that you can like move the metal with your own body, and then it stays like that in the new shape. It stays like that for thousands of years. I think that's just very very weird that it's possible to do that. And yeah, so I stayed there the whole summer and learned forging. I like took every second week I was working, and every second week I was taking forging different classes. And then after after 6 months there, Gabriel, the owner of the forged, he asked me if I wanted to jump in temporarily for the manager at his other axe forge that he had. And I had no idea that there was more places like this in the world. And also I had no idea what to do when, okay, so if I run an axe forge, what should I do? And then he just said, well, you you just answer the phone, and if something happens, you fix it. And I thought, okay, well, I can do that. If I don't know how to fix something, I can just ask the staff, the blacksmiths, or the grinders, like the people who work there, or I can ask Gabriel, or perhaps I can ask someone else. So I thought, I'm not going to destroy the company in 3 months. So I said yes. But what I didn't know was that the manager, the real manager, he actually wanted to quit. So when he found out that I was going to come, he quit. So he was not coming back. And then I thought, okay, I have to be the manager here until they find some real one. And I was just 20 then. And I don't think that I really understood how how serious it is to run a company and like be responsible for other people and all that. But I was just luckily very naive and curious about everything, and just worked very, very much, because I pretty much had to like invent the wheel every day. I was not yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. Just if something happened, it's also pretty self-explanatory. Like if we run out of steel, I buy new steel. If we get an order, we make that and we send it to them, and then we send the invoice. And if a machine breaks, we need to fix it. It's like, it's not so complicated. But also after a while, I started to question, like, why do we have different price to this customer and that customer? Why do we sell to this one, and why do we make some axes that are not so good and some that are much better? And so we started to like well, just try to change things to the better. And the biggest question and the biggest work that we always focused on during all my years there, because I ended up working there for 5 years, that was to improve the quality of the axes and constantly try to make a better product for the customers. So the question is, like, what is the difference between a good axe and a bad axe? Like all the small details, because there are so many, like in an axe, it's the relationship between the edge and the handle, and the like width of the handle, and the angle, and the balance, and the hanging, the assembly. It's like so many things. And the hardening, of course, the steel, and the how to make the forging, all that. And after a few years there, we had improved things a lot. It was still not like as good as we wanted to, but I felt that I cannot do anything more here now, and I want to study, because I was 24 and I wanted to go to university, because I like to study, not before I'm too old, because I thought my whole youth is with this axe company, and I just want to hang out with some nice people and in the city also, and not just be in this small town. So I quit, and Gabriel thought that I should study business. And I thought, well, I guess that's pretty interesting, because then I can learn how to do this for real and not just guess everything the whole time. And I think of myself as a sponge, like very much knowledge, but very not so solid. So when I went to university, I like dripped myself in water and just sucked everything. I thought was so interesting. So I was like fooled, which was nice. And in a way, I thought that I was leaving the axe world, because I only knew about 3 axe companies. It's Gränsfors and Wetterlings, and I had worked on both these, and I didn't want to work there again. And then it's Hultafors, which is a very big, noted on the stock market. I think they make money, not axes. But so I don't want to work there either. And then I just realized one day that I can start my own company. And I forgot I forgot to change the next to the next page. So this is the first axe that I made at Gränsfors, my first axe. And cute axe. Very simple one.
Julia,
yeah?
Which company did you, maybe you'll talk about it again with your photos, but which company did you manage?
Wetterlings.
Wetterlings, okay.
Yeah, sorry, perhaps I forgot to say that. But Wetterlings, and this is the staff at Wetterlings. Not sure when this photo was taken, but yeah, it's Lasse, Anki, Tommy, Arne, me, Jenny, Kenneth, Christopher, and Tina. Nice memories there. Yeah, well, so I wanted what I sorry, but yeah, okay. So what I wanted, I started studying, and then I realized that I can start my own company, which I had never thought about that. It was like a very scary and fun idea, and I just dove right into it. And I thought, if I do it myself, then I will have time to finally answer that question. What is the difference between a good and a bad axe? All the small details in the axe. I can just work, and really study that, and not release the axe until I'm completely satisfied. And so I decided to do that, and I moved up to Hälsingland. This is me in Hälsingland working on the axes. And this was, I felt like my own life begun. Like, this is the first time that I really do something that I want, that is not just a banana, slip on a banana shell, or what you say. And I was very naive now as well. I thought that everything would be like just going like this and up and running immediately, and so I had no part-time job or anything. Just thought, yeah, let's do this. And I was gonna cooperate with one blacksmith, and it didn't work out between us. We have really good, our positive or good sides are fantastic together, but our bad sides are really not working. And I was trying to, I felt so lonely there, because I bought the house on top of a mountain, and I sat there. I just sat there and like thought about, what is the point? Like, what do I want to give to the world, or why do I do this? A lot of meaningless feelings about this. And after a while, I had to get a job because I need to eat. And then I thought, no, I'm going to quit. I'm not going to do it, because it's too much pressure, also pressure from myself and from everyone. And everyone was really cute, like, oh, how is it going with their axe? Me. But I thought it was really disturbing to me. And then when I had my part-time job, so I could survive on that all right. And then all of a sudden I had a lot of time, because I was not working on my drawings or philosophy ideas, or just struggling. All of a sudden I just had, I could breathe. And then I started thinking about, so what do I want to do now when I have all this time? And then it started coming back to me, like, actually, what I want to do is I want to make axes. So I had to, like, I had to go through this little, I think it's an identity crisis almost. Yeah. Yeah, so coming out on the other side, I got rid of the pressure and expectations, and I had sort of my own just curiosity and strive to make something really nice. And I thought that if I just threw away all my stupid business plan and idea of a whole range of axes and different ideas that I have, I'm just going to make one axe, and I'm going to make a carving axe because I really like to carve. And that's, yeah, so if I make a carving axe, then if nothing else works, I can just carve with it and I will have a carving axe, and that's sort of enough. So I did that, and I started to think about my carving axe and how I wanted it to be. And then I want to show you this image of the Hjärtum axe. And Hjärtum is like all or all axe nerds' favorite axe, because of the looks, I think, and also because, well, there is this myth, I think, that the blacksmith, the hardening was so good, so you could chop off a nail and you wouldn't see a mark on the edge. So this is a very, very famous Swedish axe, and it's made in 3 generations on the West Coast. So I took a lot of inspiration from this, and this is actually based on Norwegian axe style, because it's the West Coast is close to Norway. So this is based on the Norwegian axe tradition. And another thing that I wanted to do to make sure that the axe got really good was to cooperate with someone that I really look up to, and that was Bet Moen, superhero Bet. I don't know if you guys have Bet as your idol, but I really like her. She is very technically good. She works a lot with axe because she makes bowls, so there's a lot of material removal, and I think I could not have wished for a better tester than her. So I called her and asked if she wanted to be my main tester and develop the axe with me, and she said yes, and I was really, really happy.
Julia.
Yeah.
What was the name of the old the axe the axe picture that the company that you just showed a picture of?
It spells HJ, A with 2 dots, RTUM. Perhaps I don't think you can see it here. Yeah, I can write it in the chat, or you can write it.
Yeah, there's just a question. I think you spelling it was good. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And also something else that I'm really happy about with Bet is that she's so frank, and like if she says something is good, then it's really good. So I'm really I'm really happy about that, because I don't want someone saying the axe is good and then it's actually shit. That's not, I don't want that. So with Bet as muse, I started to make, I borrowed my friend's forge and forged prototypes. So during this is actually, you see the paper template is a copy of Bet's old favorite axe that we used as a base for weight and some other things. So I took that as a starting point for what I wanted to do, and then I made wooden templates from that, and then I made forged templates or forged prototypes and sent to Bet, and we during that whole fall, I just kept sending her a new version, and she commented, and I sent her a new version again, and back and forth and back and forth. And this next, oh no, okay. Now I want to alternate the images. Now I can change my talking. Okay, so Bet was a big turning point for me, or first, that I threw away all the ideas, only focus on one thing, and then working together with Bet. And then the other thing was to find a forge. I need to cooperate with a forge to do this in a good way. And I talked with my metallurgist advisor, Dr. Frederick Håkansson. He's a doctor in edge metallurgy, and that is so cool that you can be so specialized in metallurgy. And he said, well, because I was complaining, I don't know what to do, blah 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 blah. and he said, Julia, you know that the best way to forge this is to use die forging. And I was like, die forging? What is that? And then he said, well, it's like, so Gränsfors and Wetterlings, they use open die forging, and this is closed die forging. So it's a very old methods where you're like, you have two tool halves, and they smash together, and then in like 4 hits, the axe is finished. So if you compare that with Gränsfors and Wetterlings, they have like perhaps 10 or 12 different tools, and you work back and forth and work for like, I don't know exactly how long, but like 3 minutes perhaps. And this is done much faster. And the point why you want to forge faster is because it's like when cooking, there is this perfect temperature spectrum that preserves or like brings out the richest possible flavors from the food. It's very similar with steel. So if I can forge in a short temperature spectrum, so if I forge fast, I don't need to heat it up so much. Because I can finish in a short time. I'm not sure if you will follow me here. Please ask if you don't follow me. And also that you don't forge in a very long time, so you don't forge cold towards the end. If you forge cold towards the end, you need a simpler steel that has less alloys. And I can come back to alloys later. But you can have a more advanced steel and be kinder to the steel to bring out the most, to make the steel the best, or the most of that steel's potential. And also you can avoid other stuff that you don't like grain enlargement. I'm not sure if you say that in English, grain enlargement. It means that if you heat the steel and you don't work with it, and you do that a lot, then the alloys, the different contents of the steel will group together with their friends. And that's not good. And also the carbon in the steel, for each heat there will be less and less carbon. So this is the, like, you can say, safest way, or like shortest way to the best quality. And I was amazed. This is like, okay, I had to question what I thought earlier, because I thought if I want to make a better quality, then I should make it more handmade than Wetterlings and Gränsfors. Not, there is like a spectrum. So yeah, we're somewhere here. And this made me having to question what I want with this. And what I really want with axe making is to put tools in people's hand. I want to make tools that are so good to use, so you forget that you hold a tool in your hand. So you can only think about the wood and the object you want to make, and you can forget about time and place, and just be relieved from the world, something like that. That is my goal, and what I want to give to other people. And and this has a lot to do with my own love for carving and green wood, because over these years, my whole interest has sort of moved from forging and the like oily, dirty, heavy forging workshop to like green wood workshop. So I think it's very in my world it's logic that to understand axes I learn about to understand forging I learn about axes, and to learn about axes I learn about wood. So this is like how my interest has developed over the years. Yeah, so I look at it that if I'm serious about access and wanting to do something really good, because people deserve good tools and need access in their life, then I should choose this forging method. And if I would choose to make it more hand forged, perhaps laminated, like people are romanticizing, then only like rich retired CEOs, not really, but then the people that I want to reach, like me, myself, and my friends, cannot afford the axe. And then I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to work for the rich only, because this is too important, I think, to limit like that. So the insight that I can get both the highest quality and do this like unconditionally. I could get everything I wanted with this, and it was really, really nice. So that's what I'm trying to show with this image. It's me in Hälsingland trying to get things working, and then I finally have a plan that will work. So from this time, I was like, okay, I have my own energy and ambition, and I have Frederick and this idea to work with die forging, and these three, this is what I needed. All the other stuff is just a matter of work that needs to be done.
There's a couple questions if you want to answer.
Yeah.
When the steel is heated for the die forging, it use gas forge or coal forge?
No, it's induction.
Oh, induction. Okay.
Yes, which is the better for the environment.
That's just
yeah, so it's just
electricity.
Yeah, it's just heating the steel, not the air.
Right.
So it's very efficient. And this is also what Gränsfors and Wetterlings use. And during my time at Wetterlings, we were putting solar energy on the roof and stopping using oil and moving over to induction.
Interesting. And the steel, you may or may not want to share what kind of steel it is. Sometimes that's complicated for lay people, but someone was asking, and then also it's one type of steel that you're die forging. It's not a different kind.
Yes, it's a full steel axe, and so it has the same high quality in the entire axe instead of having a lower quality in the body of the axe and only the high quality in the edge. And so I wasn't talking about alloys, but alloys, I usually describe it as if you eat porridge for breakfast and you don't have salt in the porridge, it's impossible to eat it. It tastes awful. But if you have salt in it, then it becomes a meal. And the same with steel. It contains of iron to like 99, 98%. And then you have carbon. And when you have carbon in it, you can harden it. So the more carbon, the harder it can get. And the less carbon, then you can't harden it. And when you harden it, you change the what's that word? Properties of the steel. So you can change it from you change it from soft to hard. It's like first it's all messy like this, and then when you harden it, it's like soldiers running to their line in the or to their place in the line. So all the different alloys they run to their place in the line, and then when you quench it, you dip it in water, and then the soldiers are like, so they're standing like this. That's the hardened and quenched look, and then you need to temper it, and then that means that they take this position that you can have for 1,000 years. Sorry, perhaps I'm too abstract with this, but when you harden it, you heat it to like 800 degrees, and then you cool it. That's the hardening. Then they do this, and then when you anneal it afterwards, then you heat it to 200 degrees and keep it there for 2 hours, and then you do it again, and then they like relax and become tougher and less brittle. Jared, do you think this explanation is too weird, or
No, I think it's great. It was a great the standing at attention and then at ease is good.
Yeah,
it's a hard subject to talk about, I think, and
it is. Yeah,
and it's yeah, but I think you did very good. I think people.
Okay. And then about the alloys, so it's the carbon that makes the steel able to harden, but the alloys can make it more hardenable. I'm not sure you said it in English, but more easy to harden based on that level of carbon, and it can make it tougher and change the properties in many different ways. And my steel compared to my competition steel has more alloys and less carbon, and this makes the steel I get it up to the desired hardness, which is 58 Rockwell, and then I don't want any extra carbon above that, because that will just make it brittle. So because I have so much alloys, that helps the steel up to 58, and it's just no extra brittleness, no extra stuff. But Jared, can you say this in a different way?
I think it's fine. It makes sense. The carbon, when you have too much carbon, it gets too hard.
Yeah.
And brittle. So you've chosen an alloy that is just right for the forging process and the use.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
But I'm also talking about an alloy. I'm talking about the different alloys, like to have a lot of that in relation to the carbon and iron. So if I have a lot of alloys, a big percentage of the total, then that is like a simpler steel that can be more abused in the forging. But because I have this super forging, I can have the best quality steel. I don't have to choose a poorer steel than I would have if I have a simpler forging method.
It makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. So next image is just to show, or an homage to forging science or metallurgy. Yeah, just that there is so much knowledge in this world. So I just wanted to show this image because I thought it was cool. Okay, so back to my product development. Actually, are we running out of time?
I think we can go a little while longer. I mean,
Okay.
people will come and go, but
Okay.
10:50, so you could go
Yeah.
another 15, 20 minutes
15,
maybe.
20. Okay.
I'll be here.
Okay, good. Because this is my I've had the heaviest images. I only have some light ones left. This is just showing the one phase in my handle prototyping, where I'm going from a straighter one and towards a more traditional one, which is curved. So I wanted to share this process. I think it's pretty clear how I have worked. And then, yeah, this is about choosing the steel that we just talked about, the steel. So Frederick, I asked him, so what are the best steels that I should try? And then he gave me 3 different options. And so I forged axe heads, and then up to the left, that's me chopping sisal rope. Do you say that? Sisal rope? Sisal.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Sissel.
Sisal, yeah. And then, and I did that exactly the same way with all the axes, and looked at them in a, you see this thing that I have in my hand, at the bottom left, that's a USB microscope. So I was looking at the damages, and based on this, I choose the best steel. So I'm really happy about the steel and about Frederick.
There's a couple of questions if we can.
Yeah.
Axe handle. Can you maybe talk about why it's shaped the way it is on your axe?
Well, so I have not really analyzed this more than just trial and error, and but my conclusion when I found this is also not as curved as my final result, but my answer is that it should follow the edge. That because the edge is rounded, you want the handle to also be rounded, so you can grip anywhere and still and still be able to carve well with it. I don't know. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I don't know either. It's maybe too hard to figure out for sure because everybody's different. But I like your reasoning or your explanation, because you want to have the hand at different places.
Yeah, it has to be limitless, like just gripping. So, but it's not following exactly. My edge has a smaller radius than the axe handle. Well, I tested many different relationships, and this was the best one. So it's just trial and error. Yeah. If anyone has an idea, please comment, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts.
There's a question too on the heat treatment of the steel or the tool, the axe. So the alloy steel at when you quench it or harden it, it only can go to 58, or do you temper down?
Yeah, temper down.
You do
58
temper
is
down.
the final.
Aha. I see.
Yeah. Mm.
Julia,
Yeah, so
this is Jessa. I'm just going to pop in for a second. Do you mind stopping your screen share so people can see your image up close? Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you want to show the next image, you can just start it again. But several people have said.
Well, actually, this is I've talked a lot now, but I'm going to show some quick images now.
Okay, great. Then keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And anyway, okay. So this is the next image. Oh, this is from my first visit to the forge. This is the hammer that they work in without tooling. What I want to say about this is when I mean, to start working with them, or they needed to make tooling for me. And when doing that, we had to transfer my axe prototype to CAD. And this was as difficult as making the axe in real life. Very respect to the technical people who know CAD. I have no idea how to do that. Anyway, so while waiting for so now everything is sort of in the story, everything is sort of done. I have the steel, Bet have approved of the axe, and I'm still working on small details like changing the handle and knob just a little bit, like making the leather cover. And this up to the right is my first or like the workshop where I was gonna make the first little batch. And this is the axe. It was in November 2018, so like 2.5 years ago. And all of a sudden, everything that I worked for was like ready. And I pressed a button on my website, like release. And then that was like a big change, of course, because before that I only worked in the hidden, or like only worked for myself with like pillanaven. How do you say that in English? And now I started to take orders and make axes for the people. And actually it did not scare me to release the axe as much as to actually finish the first batch and send to the customers. I was so nervous, and I had the goal to be ready before Christmas. And I was standing there like 2 days before Christmas with all the shipping and everything. But no, well, it was really, like I learned a lot this first couple of times, because even though I had sharpened axes and I had like carved and did all the like small stuff, I had not done it myself in serious production. So it was a big effort, or like that I actually did it. This is Ida forging. And this is me looking at checking everything. I go there every time we forge. And this is the handle, where the handles are from in Skåne. Peder, I'm checking some logs there. And it's ash from southern Skåne. That's what I use. And this is image from the copy turning that we use for the handle. So we turn a base, and then we make them. Perhaps if you see me, we saw this, because I don't think they can saw just like I want it. So we saw this, and then we also shave off, or like carve off the surface. So it's a carved surface, which is a nicer grip. And also we take it down to the exact measurements because it can vary to from the turning shop. Yeah, this is shaving off the surface. And this is my staff. So David up to the right, he started in the summer of 2019. And then Daniel Lundberg, who's giving a speech with you in 2 weeks or next week. He is down to the left. I'm like his bread and butter job, and then he has his own stuff going on. But he makes the handles, and Albin, he is down to the right. He makes, we call it that he works with skrufs. Skrufs is like to remove small stuff, like really detailed stuff. That's what he does. And Molly, she is answering customer emails, and she's also going to start making handles very soon. And they're all craftspeople and have their own business going on. So I'm just there like a part-time job, but I think it's really nice to work with craftspeople, and we have a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of my staff. They're really the best at everything that they do. Yeah.
And what
that's
about
me.
the sheaths? Do you make those in-house?
Her name is Mia. She's not employed by me. I'm just paying her per piece. So, but she lives in Hälsingland, where I used to live, and she is a very good leather craftsman. Perhaps I should have included her. I forgot her. I was really stressing with this presentation, but I'm going to include her for another time. Yeah. Oh, Mia. She's great. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and now if we have a few more minutes, I'm going to show you around the shop.
I think everybody would like that. There's 224 people still watching. So
really? Wow.
Everybody's very interested. It's really nice to hear.
Very cool.
I am going to shut off your screen share, Julia. I can do that just so folks can
thank
see
you.
close. Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm not really
No, you're great.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so now I'm walking around. I'm just going to show you like a big overview first. This is my workshop, and I'm going to start in the grinding room, because after the forge, the first step that we do is the grinding, and we do that here. See, this is the grinding room, and we have 2 grinders. I'm not really sure what you want to know. The coarse grinding is 40 grit, and then we send it to hardening, and then it's 120, and then 240. So this is set up for this is 120, and this is 240, and we're doing it like so it's really good, like in the same with the same jig. It's really working really well. And this is a 45 centimeter wheel, so it's slightly concave. If it's a smaller wheel, then it will be too much concave, in my opinion. I just want it a little bit concave so the customer get a few easy resharpenings, and then they can put a new concave after that. Yeah. Okay, so after fine grinding, over to the polishing department. This is a Tormek, and we use the Tormek in our production for the polishing stone, 4000 grit. That's the finish that we do. And then this is my oiling equipment that I built down in the oil bucket. So I just hang them here. 8 goes with each dip. And then I dip it in the oil and it's dripping down in the oil. Yeah. And the handles, this whole area is the handle making area. This is our like heated cupboard or heated, yeah, this is hot. Oops. And here are, so this is what the handles look like when we get them. Perhaps I can show you the surface of it.
So you dry them, you heat them, and make sure they're really dry.
They are dried already. We're just keeping them dry. And
Uh,
it should be 6 to 10% moisture, or the head will, the wood can shrink and the handle will be loose. So what we do is that we saw off the end knob and shape it, and we do that in the grinding room. Yeah. Yeah, and then we use that shaving horse that I showed you in the slides. Then what we do is to deep fry. Oops. So this is just plastic to stop the oxidation of the oil. But this is linseed oil, and we deep fry them, and that is to so the oil will go deeper into the wood. And then after that, we wax them with the linseed and beeswax wax. Nothing left. Yeah, and then leave it to dry. And then we hang them, and I always do that personally. That's my hjärtefråga, I always say. It means my heart, the question in my heart. It's the hanging. And then perhaps I have an axe. I can show you. So, yeah, I have the axe head and I put the handle in it and put it here and smash it and yeah, check if it's straight and if it has the right, yeah, sometimes it can get wrong. And then I use wedge. I don't have any wedge here, but wedge and glue, normal glue. And then it dries, and then you saw off the utstick. I don't know the word utstick in English. And then yeah, skrufs. This is skrufs.
Trim.
Trim. Okay. Yeah.
Trim. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the little and oil and leather cover. And then I wrap it. And I also write the warranty card and send it to anywhere.
And
Yeah.
you sell on your website,
Yeah.
strictly on your website.
No, I also sell.
Oh.
Well, Jared, you are my retailer.
Oh, I am.
Yes, you are. But I sell in US. I sell via Lee Nielsen and Maine Coastal Craft School,
Okay.
and then I have one dealer in Japan, and I have 2 small dealers in Sweden. Yeah, and that's it. But I think it's nice if people buy from me, because then I have a connection with them if they have questions, and
Yes.
yeah, it feels good. And something I want to add, now we have carving classes and axe technique classes, because I don't think it's enough that people just buy the axe and then there is a little threshold to like get started using it, and then I just want to like give them the step over that threshold. And it's really not, I mean, to some people it's really intuitive, and some, but it's still, yeah, you can learn some tricks and like get faster to the good stuff. So we've started to teach axe skills, and that's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm.
Well, there's a bunch of questions. Some are overly technical, I think.
Okay.
That's the trick with blacksmithing and steel, and
Mm-hmm.
but we can maybe go through a couple. What speed do you grind at?
Speed.
Do you have
well,
a optimal speed that you grind?
yeah,
You grind
I grind at
RPM,
maximum speed,
or
but
does it vary?
well, I sort of always grind at the maximum speed. It goes up to 50. I don't know what that means. But so if they are asking about when it's well, after hardening, that it can't be hot, we do it so quickly, so it's not anywhere near the shady temperature. So we always use the maximum speed. Yeah. Yeah, that's how cool we are. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And when the die forging happens, is it just one stamp, or
No, it's 4
two
steps.
or three? 4 stamps. Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
So the eye must be one of those, maybe, or 2 parts or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that you're very inspiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to read the questions. Perhaps I have some hjärtefråga.
Yeah, you can go into the question and answer or the chat.
Yeah. I also can add that a lot of this is on my Instagram. So if you want to see more details about stuff, you can browse through that. Yeah, I don't know what to.
Yeah, some of them I left because I knew you would get to them in your talk, so. Oh, what you mentioned on the phone that you are maybe developing a new design.
Yes, I am.
Or is that secret?
No, it's not secret. Well, I am working on it, but it's a secret what type of axe is going to be, because I've not decided completely, so I don't want to talk about and say that it's going to be this, and then I'm changing my mind, and then so I don't want to lie. That's why it's secret. But
I see.
Yeah. But I think it will take a long time before it's finished. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you put a lot of attention to detail in your prototyping process.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Yeah. That's also the idea with having help, that I don't do everything myself, because I could also just not have help and do everything myself, but then I would not have time to work on the next axe. And also there are people that are better than me, like Daniel and Molly. They are like wood people. They really know wood, so they are incredible at what they do. And David, he is like, yeah, I'm constantly shocked how accurate and fast he is at sharpening. He's like, yeah. So thanks to them, I can have time to work at my new stuff, but I also still just get stuck in the everyday stuff. So that's why it can take long. Yeah.
Yeah, business.
Yeah.
So you probably sell every axe you make.
Yeah.
sell.
I have
That's
so I make them on order.
Hmm.
So right now we have 100 axes on order, and we always have about 100.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I know I can attest to the quality. It's one of my favorites. I've been carving for a while, and I have maybe everybody's axe. And I don't like to say one's the best because they're all different and unique, but it's my favorite. It's very, very well balanced.
Nice.
And the thing I notice about it is it acts like a bigger axe than it is.
Yeah,
And
several
I
people
think a lot
said
of yeah, it's very good.
I think it has to do with the balance. That or that's the only reason I can think of why it feels like a bigger axe. It must have to do with the balance.
Right.
Or what do you think?
Well, yeah, I think so. If once the weight is the same, it has to be, you know, where the metal is, the balance.
Yeah, because many people said that it feels like a big axe, but it is a small.
Really
nice. Yeah. Yeah. Nice to see Rasmus among the listeners. Hey, Rasmus. And I don't know, a lot of people that I recognize. Hello, everyone. Jan Hamtebrugge, Paul Pinkston, hello. Yeah, and Jessa, of course. Yeah, I don't know. So many questions, so I don't. Yeah,
I'm
sorry
kind of going through.
Missed someone.
Well, here's one. How did you decide on the weight of the axe?
Well, that was Beth's idea, that it's a good weight. And we were actually aiming for a little bigger, but then it just ended up like this, and then we were both happy with it. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Someone asks if you have a local shop that people can visit if they ever get to Stockholm or.
Yeah, so we have opening hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if you're traveling through, you are just welcome to email us, and and of course we will make sure to be here like an appointment if you want to come any other time. And also, I think if you're coming, I think you should take a carving class, because that's a fun way to visit us, I think. Yeah.
And how many times do you do that? Once a month, I think? I can't remember what you said.
We do it, we have one we call a workshop, which is only axe technique. And then that we do that twice a month, but now it's Corona, so we don't do it. And then we have one that is an axe class, or like a more in-depth thing. And Daniel has that class himself. So him and I are teaching the simpler class, and then he's teaching, then you get the full Daniel experience. And that's a 1-day class, so that's on Saturday, and the shorter ones is on a weekend or a weekday evening.
Someone is asking if you're ever going to visit North House and teach.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm gonna have axe handle making class. So I feel like I can teach carving to beginners, because I'm an amateur carver, but I don't feel like I can teach spoon carving. There are so many good spoon carvers out there, but axe handles, I've made so many axe handles. So that's something I want to start teaching. And there's a lot of old axe heads waiting to get their axe
Right.
handled. So that's
Right.
gonna
Consider
be
yourself invited, Julia.
yeah, nice. I would be happy.
We'll figure
to
out the details once
Yeah.
travel's possible again, but it would be great to
Nice.
have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to come.
Good. And we'll bring Beth with you too. So
Good. Yeah.
yeah, we've been fortunate to have her visit often.
Mhm.
I did want to just interject and say that I think we do have to wrap up. Thanks to everybody. Huge thanks to Julia and Jared. I am going to do one quick thing. Typically, we do a little poll during these. So if you want the opportunity to sign up for Julia's very occasional e-news or North House's e-news, you can do that. So I'm going to launch that. If you can fill it out, that's great. And if you're, I guess if you don't, that's okay too. Thanks to everybody. I hope we see many of you next Thursday evening with Jared and then on Friday with Daniel.
Yeah, you have to listen to Daniel. He's the best.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.